Okay, here is the next thing we're doing. Describe the weights of the top 10% of babies born within each gestation period. Explain your reasoning. The first thing we want to do is we want to look at what is that going to look like. Okay, so if I'm looking at the top 10%, okay, here my curve, like right about right here, oops. Okay, here's 10%, which means the other 90% would be my bottom 90%, and this would be my top 10%. Okay, because my curve, my z-chart gives us an area to the left, the area to the left of 10% is 90%, okay? So since we have the area under the curve, we don't have the z-score, we have the area under the curve. Okay, we can find the corresponding x value, okay, using this inverse norm. Okay, then the area to the left, which is 0.90. Then our mean, here it's 6, and our standard deviation, 1.5. That's going to give us our corresponding x value. Okay, so if we put that in our calculator, okay, we go second distribution, inverse norm is number 3. We go 0.90, comma 6, comma 1.5. Gives us a corresponding x value of 7.9223. Okay, so the top 10% of babies born 34 to 36 weeks are 7.9223 pounds or more, okay, because it's the top 10%. The other way we can do this is look up the corresponding z-score in the chart. So I already did that for you, it's 1.28. So if we plug that into the z formula, we can solve for x because here's our z formula. Okay, we have z equals x minus the mean over the standard deviation. We have everything except for x. So we have the z-score, 1.28. So that would be 1.28 would be about, well, that's actually probably, let's fix this. Here on the chart. Okay, here's 0, here's 1, here's 1.28. Okay, the area to the left of 1.28 is 90%, the area to the right is 10%. Okay, going back here, okay, we have our z-score, then we have x, minus our mean, we know is 6, and we know our standard deviation is 1.5. So then we would just solve that. We would multiply both sides by 1.5. Okay, so 1.5 times 1.28 would give us a 1.92. These would cancel. We have x minus 6, add 6. That gives us 7.92 is our x value. Okay, so you can do either one of those to work this out. If you are typing it into your assignment, as long as you type in inverse norm and then what you wrote in the calculator, that counts as showing work. I want you guys using your calculator here because it does make this task a lot easier for you. Okay, now if we're doing the same thing here for 40 weeks, let's see here, get red. Okay, we would go inverse norm. Area to the left would be 90, because we know to the right it is 10. Our mean is 7.5, and our standard deviation is 1.24. Okay, so second distribution, inverse norm, 0.90, 7.5, 1.24. And that gives us 9.0891. Okay, so 40 weeks, the top 10%, 9 pounds or greater. I'd say that sounds about right. Again, I did make up these numbers. I tried to make them reasonable. These aren't the numbers in your assignment, but top 10% of babies would be very large babies.